And sometimes while I'm talking, I'm going to leave off the last word of the sentence because I think your mind will fill in the hole. There you go. All right. See, how you act in here, how you respond, how you jump around, if you're enthusiastic, if you sit there skeptical, if you're bored, kind of determines a little bit of your life, because how you do anything is how you do everything. It's just that simple. How you do anything is how you do everything. But that has nothing to do with this speech. I just wanted to bring that up. I brought with me, let's see, I don't want to go big because you guys are half asleep. I brought a $5 bill. Anybody want it?
Yes.
Thank you. How come you shot up and nobody else did?
Because I'm quick like that.
You're quick like that. Let me ask you a question though. I spit on it. You still want it?
Yeah.
You still want it?
I'll wash it.
How about now? I crumpled it up. It's all. Still want it? Hang on. I'm going to put it on the ground. My shoes are kind of dirty. And do that. You still want it?
I still know it's value.
You still know its value. Really? What determines its value? Does it matter if it's wrinkled? What if I tore it a little bit? I ripped it a little bit.
That's good.
It's still good. Because it's still worth how much? $5. Huh? Won't fit in the bill. Yeah, it'd be aggravating, but it's still worth $5, is it not? My speech is called "You're Not Worthy." Excuse me, I'm not worthy. Not Wayne's World. I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy. I mean, I'm not worthy. Who decides your worth? Who decides your worth? You. Thank you very much. Just the other day, and this is where I'm going to pick on Cassie some more. She texted me last night. I said, "You inspired me for a speech." Really? What'd I do? I said, "I'm not telling. Come watch it." All right. We were leaving the post office. Now, I have a shipping company. We ship out a lot of stuff, and I have permission to go into the back side of the post office where they sort the mail, put my packages down there. And this happens all the time because, one, it started as an aggravation. I knew it would. I knew I'd get the opportunity to do that because when there's a big long line, my stuff's already got labels on it. I just walk past everybody and stick it on the counter. Everybody's mad. Or if I'm in line behind somebody with a big package, they're all nervous that I'm going to take forever because they've got one letter that's going to take them half an hour because they don't know how to put a stamp on. I would do that on purpose. I did that in Charlotte, and I got permission to go on their back docks too, because nobody wants to wait. Well, Cassie works for me now this summer. She's doing great. She's got a summer job. She went into the back the other day, and the guy said, "Why don't you just bring that up front?" And she said, "Whoa, I'm with Jason." Is that exactly what you said? "I'm with Jason." He says, "I know, but just take your stuff up front." I said, "Okay. That's fine. We'll start taking it up front. I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to take everybody off, and I'm going to say, please, take it to the back, you know. Don't. But I asked her, we were driving, I said, "How'd that make you feel?" She said, nothing. I said, "Did it make you mad?" She said, "Not really." I said, "Did it ruin your day?" She said, "No, something like that's not going to ruin my day." I said, "Who decides whether or not your day is ruined?" And she gave me the great answer. What did you say? You don't remember.
It's your speech.
Have you ever helped a speaker before? You're not helping one now either. Okay. She said, "I do. I determine whether or not it ruins my day. I determine whether that jerk that cut me off ruins my day. I determine whether or not I'm worthy." See, I don't think you were put on a production line. I believe in God. I don't think God puts you up and there's this big assembly line going down. He's looking and he's stamping you worthy or unworthy. And he gets to somebody, "Oh, they're worthy." Yeah, next one, worthy. And oh, no, ooh, not worthy. Pushes them a different one. Oh, double unworthy. Oh my goodness, who's making these things here, you know? I don't think it works that way. I think everybody's worthy. I think you can accomplish anything you want, and it's a matter of deciding whether you can or can't, and who makes that decision? Asking the question.
I do.
You do! Thank you very much for helping. You are just, you're going to get that $5. I am going to give the $5 away at the end. We'll see who jumps up for it then. But you decide whether you're worthy or not. We're going to go back in time, and I'm going to cut this short because I know you've got a speech. When I was probably 18, 19. I had just gotten married the first time. A guy called me up, and I've always been an entrepreneur, and a guy called me up on the phone, and he said, Jason, I've got this great idea for this business. Oh my goodness, we've got to do this. And so I listened to him, and he said, oh, this is great, check out this. This is a true story, I want you to picture this in your head. I'm not going to tell you what company it is yet. He said, this is what we're going to do. We're going to set up a shop someplace, and we're going to sell stuffed animals. But this is the cake. This is the icing on the cake. This is the best part. We're not even going to stuff them. No, we're going to let other people pay us to come to us to get this carcass and stuff it, and we're going to make a bunch of money. And then we're going to sell accessories and clothing for these stuffed animals, and people will buy it. Well, I ran to my wife. I said, oh, this is great. What an idea. Wow. We're going to sell not stuffed animals and let people pay us to stuff them, to make their own. Jason, that's just stupid. That will never, oh my goodness, you could never pull something off like that. That's just dumb. Nobody's going to buy it, blah, 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 blah. Besides, you don't have any experience in this. Dumb, but negative. I didn't do it. Did you know Build-A-Bear had a bad year last year, and they pulled in only $382 million net? Only. And that was a down year for them. So let's move on. New life, new situation. She's a little bit more positive. I said, let's sell on eBay. Okay, she's going along with it. Let's do this. I said, I want to be a power seller. Okay, no problem. Now, back in the day, you had to do $10,000 a month to get power seller. Now they make it easy for everybody. You just make $500. You're a power seller. There's levels now of power seller. But to be power seller back then, you had to do $10,000 a month consistently for 3 months in a row. So, $10,000, I said, well, I want to be a power seller. And I want to do it in a month. It can't be done. No, it can't. See, you can't do that, $10,000 consistently for 3 months, that's their rules. I said, well, eBay's a program. If I made $30,000 in 1 month, how would it know? Because the last previous 3 months would average out to $10,000 a month. Well, that's impossible. What will you sell? It doesn't matter. I'll figure that out. And I worked, and I broke it down and I took the time, and I broke it down to the penny of how much the average thing I was selling cost, or how much I would make on the average thing. I'm to the penny. And I found out it was, in what I was selling, was $1.54, or excuse me, $1.54, meaning every item I had up over the course of the month would make me $1.54. Does that make sense to you? So we're not going to sell everything. I mean, if I sold one thing, it might make me $100. If I sold another thing, it might make me $10 or whatever. But the average was, for every single listing I had up, I made $1.54 on average. So to make $30,000 in 1 month, I had to put up X number of listings. So I had to find 25,000 things to sell on eBay, pretty much. And I set up a plan, and I did it. And I'd love to say I made it in a month. I didn't. It took me 1 month and 2 weeks. And I did it, though. It couldn't be done. It couldn't be done. So now I'm not listening. I'm worthy. I can do this. Now, the relationship went on, and unfortunately it did go sour eventually. But during the course of it, I kept saying, hey, we could have a $100,000 a month. No, it can't be done. It can't be done. It can't be negative. So after she left, I said, you know what? I'm going to try this out. I'm going to try out everything I am. I am worthy. I pumped myself up. I started doing things differently. I hired a bunch of my friends, even put an ad up on Craigslist. Well, I won't go into all the details, but in a month and a half, we did $170-something thousand on eBay in a month and a half. And then I sabotaged it. I didn't go to meetings, I didn't do this, I didn't do that. There were a lot of things that went wrong. Why? Because inside, I wasn't worthy. Who decided that? I did. Who did I listen to? Everybody else. Who decides your worth? You do. Not her, not him. She doesn't decide yours, you don't decide hers. We all decide our own worth. And I'm here to tell you, you're as worthy as you want to be. You're as unworthy as you want to be. You're as happy, in Cassie's case, as you want to be, or you're as unhappy as you want to be. I've got all kinds of stories about people who overcome odds. I personally am not a fan of Oprah, but here's this poor, sexually abused black girl that rose to complete stardom. I mean, she had everything against her, but she decided that she was worthy. What about Stallone? There's a story I can get behind. Did you know that Stallone, Sylvester, Adrian, I can't even do it. Adrian, that guy, he wrote the screenplay for Rocky. Did you guys know this? He wrote the screenplay for Rocky. And he took it to place after place, and they're like, no, this won't work. It's the same old thing, the guy from nothing rises to, beat the champion of the world and becomes a star. It's been done too many times, it'll never go, nobody's gonna buy this. And finally he found a producer or a movie company that would, if he wouldn't be in it. Oh, he had the accent, he had the lip thing going. No, and he did not. He said, I'm gonna get this done. Over 100 people, over 100 companies he took this to, and they kept saying no, no, no. And finally the one that said, yes, we love it, as long as you're not in it. We don't like the way you talk. We don't like your accent. We don't like how you use your lips when you talk. No, you're not worthy. You're not worthy for this role. And he kept on, and he kept on. Look at Stallone now. Before Rocky, he was just an extra, a thug, a bad guy, in a couple little parts and stuff like that. He rose on. And I'm a Bruce Lee fan, and I looked up, I couldn't believe it, I came across a quote of his that's perfect for this. Bruce Lee said, a sculptor doesn't add stuff to his sculpture. He just scrapes away the inessentials. You're already worthy. You were born worthy. You were born ready. You have everything you need. The only thing you're going to learn now is how to be maybe faster or more efficient. You've got everything you need. There's a good story I want to read really quickly, if I can come across it with all these papers up here. It's by Stephen Leacock. He says, how strange it is, our little procession of life. The child says, when I'm a big boy, but what's that? The big boy says, when I grow up. And then when he's grown up, he says, well, when I get married. But to be married, what is that after all? And then the thought changes to, when I'm able to retire. And when the retirement comes, he looks back over the landscape traversed. A cold wind seems to sweep over it. Somehow he has missed it all, and life is gone. Life, we learn too late, is in the living, in the tissue of every hour and every day. You don't have to get someplace to be worthy. You don't have to learn something new to be worthy. You are worthy. Narissa, you're worthy. Turn to Carl and tell Carl he's worthy. Carl, tell me. Everybody turn to somebody and say, you are worthy. And you're awesome. See, if we had more of that growing up, we might be a lot better off. Every one of us in here should be millionaires. Every one of us should have every single thing our heart desires. What stopped that from happening? Oh, the economy, Obama, or this, or that, that boy who picked on me and pulled my ponytails in school, or pigtail, I don't know. Whatever your reason is that caused you to believe that you're not worthy for riches, or you're not worthy for fancy cars, or not worthy for anything you want in your life, it was all determined ultimately by you, by me. Every big success I've done was because I felt I was worthy, and every time I destroyed it was because I thought, I'm not worthy. Anybody ever heard of a thermostat? Ever heard the explanation of the thermostat? I know Anthony Robbins, if you're an Anthony Robbins fan, the motivational speaker Anthony Robbins, he talks about a thermostat. And the thermostat right here, it tells you, how hot, how cold. And you set it for a temperature. And when it starts getting too hot in the room, what happens? Cools down. When it starts getting too cold, it kicks on and heats it up, so to speak. Same thing in life. You have an inner thermostat. You see yourself a certain way. You set that thermostat yourself. A lot of people helped you set it, that you listened to, but you set it. So when, and this goes for your finances, this goes for your weight, this goes for just about everything in your life. When things aren't going well, and you're having a rough month, and you're not making bills, and things are just behind, what happens? Your brain starts kicking in. You come up with things, ways to do things. Automatically, you start coming up with different things, and it always seems to work out in the end, right? That's what happened with me. On the opposite end, everything's going good. I'm $170,000, and when I was making all this money on eBay, I was flying, I was doing karate classes, I was hardly ever there. All these people worked for me, I wasn't even there. I didn't know who worked for me. I didn't care. And I, little by little, my thermostat got up way up here. This is normal, and I said, whoa, wait a second. And the opposite kicked in, and it pulled me back down, because my worthiness was right here. Below that, man, I start pumping, I start doing stuff. Above that, it kicks in the opposite way. And I decided that. But right now, we'll work on that in another speech, how to adjust your thermostat up. All I want you to know right now is you are worthy, and you set that thermostat. You are as worthy as you choose to be.